Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. A couple things before we start. I am standing on a yoga mat. If you're without one, find an area in your house that's got some carpeting, or maybe you've got a nice sturdy rug. I just don't want you on something too slick or too hard, or that's going to slip out from underneath you. I have 2 yoga blocks. A great substitute for those would be 2 thick books. And a folded blanket. It can be as simple as a beach towel, the throw blanket from your couch. It's also great to steal things like cushions from your couch or pillows that really make this all feel the best it possibly can. So enjoy being creative with the things that you find in your home. We will start standing with our feet hip distance, facing the short edge of our mat. Of course, if you're without a mat, you'll just use your imagination that way. And instead of locking our legs out or feeling that we're stiff, allow yourself to land in something that's a little bit more soft, even though it's like we have a little bit of a string in the crown of our head and we're growing tall. Come into your breathing. I know that you've been breathing all this while. We wouldn't be alive if we weren't, but I bet we don't pay that much attention to our breath until we do. So let's do. Notice every inhale and every exhale. See if you can add a pause at the top of your inhale when you're full. And the same at the bottom of your exhale when you're empty. So there is an indication of not rushing, slowing things down. Let's stay with that idea of breath awareness and slowing down. And let our breath guide a little bit of movement. So inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape. And then just exhale, float your arms along your sides, palms face out. That much again. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape. And then exhale, float your arms along your sides. A little bit more. Inhale, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Take your hands to your thighs for this first one. All of us have a tendency to round forward. So let's use our thighs as if they were a prop. Press into your thighs and then make your spine long. It's a hip hinge. There's a string in the crown of our head even here. We'll keep this length and maybe venture our hands down our legs, but you can keep your hands on your thighs the whole time. There will come a place where we're very tempted to go into that crumbly roundness, and that's where we stop. So probably somewhere down our shins, or like I said, stay with your thighs. Then we inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V. Pause with your arms along your sides. Inhale, V. We're building a sun salutation. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins, or maybe your ankles. Slide your hands up and remind yourself of that long spine. Then bend your knees as deeply as it takes to situate your hands flat on your mat. Walk back into down dog. Let's take a wide stance for our first one. As wide as your mat with a deep bend in your knees. Press into your arms. So this is not a bent elbows collapsed into my shoulders moment. Imagine opening 2 jars with your hands, and they're opening in an opposite direction from one another. Lift your hips up like you want to place your hips in the corner where the wall and the ceiling meet. Let your head relax in between your arms, so you're kind of thinking biceps and ears, arms and ears aligning. Then walk your feet forward to the front edge of your mat, hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and then we stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. We'll keep flowing and growing our sun salutation. Inhale, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees deeply, palms flat, step back to down dog. You can keep the stance of as wide as your mat or be hip distance. We're on the balls of our feet, we've got bent knees, so we're not rounding our hips here either. Push the ground away. And then come to plank position. Just situate your shoulders over your wrists, and then the hook in your tailbone takes you back to down dog. We'll go back and forth a couple times like this. So shift it into plank, shoulders over wrists, and then let your hips lift you up and back. One more time. Shoulders over wrists here. Push the ground away so we're not collapsed into our shoulders. With your belly firm, one last time. Hips lift you way up and back. Then we walk forward, feet hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. And then we inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, V, and stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. We'll keep growing. Inhale, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, palms go flat, step back, downward facing dog. Again, we shift it forward into our plank, shoulders over our wrists. Plant your knees down. A little further back than if I told you to come to hands and knees, so about 3 inches further back. Once again, we're not collapsed into our shoulder girdle. Push the ground away and let that also feel like you're bringing your belly towards your spine, so trunk stability. Shift a little forward, keep that trunk stability, continue to push the ground away and lower all the way down onto your belly. Uncurl your toes and bring your forearms parallel to the long edges of your mat. Press down into the tops of your feet until your kneecaps lift and you feel your legs working. Karate chop the ground with your forearms, and then traction your elbows towards you. They won't move, but your chest will move through the gateway of your arms. Then lower down, curl your toes under, place your hands next to your ribs. Our elbows don't wing out to the side. They stay close to us as we come in one chunk to all fours, and then lift your hips up and back, down dog. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Feet are hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. And then we inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V, and we pause with our arms along our sides. Let's flow that. Inhale, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Inhale, slide your hands up, bend your knees, palms go flat, step it back to down dog. And then shift forward, shoulders over your wrists, plant your knees down, slowly lower all the way to your belly. Uncurl your toes and either keep your hands where they are for cobra pose or forearms can go down for that sphinx. Then we curl our toes under, come through all fours, let the hook in your tailbone take you to down dog. And then walk forward, feet to your hands. Inhale, slide your hands up your legs. Exhale, hinge yourself forward. We inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and then pause with our arms along our sides. Chair pose, sit back and down, let there be a hinge in your hips as we find this. So this isn't a chair pose where we're tucking our tailbone. And then exhale, hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees, palms flat, we step to down dog. Once we're in down dog, this time, lift your right leg back behind you and then swoop it forward, and probably most of us will need to help it along. Find your 2 books or blocks and let them come to either side of you here on your mat. Walk your right foot to the right a little bit, bend your back knee, and then take your hands on your thigh. And this gives us a nice way to situate our torso upright. Maybe stay there, or arms go out and up and we V-shape. It's possible you work your back leg a little bit towards straight, but I mostly want an upright torso, and for most of us, once we do that, we tip things forward. Now bring your hands carefully to your mat. You can do that by way of your 2 blocks and step yourself into down dog. Once you're in down dog, you could opt to stay here, or come with me, shoulders over wrists in our plank. Bring your knees to your mat. Elbows brush your ribs as we come all the way down onto the ground. And you can keep your hands where they are or make it sphinx as we come into a back bend. Then we'll lower down, recurl our toes under in one chunk to all fours. The hook in our tailbone takes us to down dog. Lift your left leg back behind you. Step that left foot forward and feel free to help it along. Trot your 2 blocks in to assist and heel toe your left foot to the left a little bit. Bend your back knee, climb your hands up on top of that left thigh. Let it be a nice tall torso, and this might be where you keep your hands, or we can take our arms out and up, maybe even to a V shape. Some of you will straighten that back leg a little bit. All of us are growing taller and taller, and then with your belly firm, by way of your blocks perhaps, and that gives you an opportunity to move them, come to down dog. From downward facing dog, walk yourself forward, feet come to our hands, slide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. Let's visit a chair pose, and then stand it up and pause in our mountain. This is something called Sun Salutation C. So the first thing that we did was Sun Salutation A. What we just did with our crescent lunge was Sun Salutation B. And then get ready. Here comes Sun Salutation C. Chair pose. Hinge at your hips. Take your hands onto your thighs, shins, or ankles. Slide your hands up. Bring your fingertips to your mat. Maybe even bring your fingertip or your hands onto your blocks. And step your right foot back. We come upright into our lunge. And then we bring our hands to our mat and step into down dog. From down dog, shift forward, shoulders over wrists, bring your knees to your mat, lower all the way onto your belly. Make it a back bend. That could be Sphinx pose as you come over the tops of your feet. Then curl your toes back under, lift your hips up and back, and we bring ourselves into down dog. Now listen carefully. Lift your right leg back behind you, and then step that right foot forward into your crescent lunge. You can do that walking up onto your thigh like we did earlier. This is where it's different, so pay close attention. Bring your hands onto your blocks and step your left foot hip distance from your right. Chair pose. Pause a moment. This is going to seem strange, but this is the Sun Salutation. Hinge and dive, hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Inhale, lift your heart. Ready? Step your left foot back. You can use your blocks if you want to. And now we make our way into crescent. But wait a minute, this is the side we were just on. Yes, it is. And then bring your hands onto your blocks, or eventually please bring your hands down and bring yourself to down dog. We come into a plank position, shoulders over wrists. You can bring your knees to your mat now and lower carefully all the way down. Uncurl your toes. It could be Sphinx instead. Lower it down, curl your toes under, come through all fours, lift your hips up and back. Now your left leg lifts. Step it forward, help it along if that is in fact helpful. Blocks, hands on thighs, up we go. This is our different exit. Bring your hands to your blocks. Step your right foot hip distance from your left. Hands to thighs, lift your heart, inhale. Hinge as we exhale. Then it's a chair pose. And we stand it up and pause in our mountain. So that's Sun Salutation C, in case it comes up at a party sometime. We will now do a different Dancing Warrior Sun Salutation. It is a medley of Sun Salutations to grow your energy and heighten your mood. Here we go. Chair pose. Exhale. Hinge at your hips, hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Slide your hands up and plant your hands flat on the ground for down dog. Once we're in down dog, lift your right leg, step it forward, help it along. Crescent pose, but this time drop your back heel and open your body out to Warrior Two. So this right leg steps over to the left a little bit. Take your right forearm across your thigh, your left arm up to the sky. Make sure we're not crumbled into that right shoulder. So we want to get a little karate chop happening. Also check to make sure that your knee is over your ankle, and then we come upright into our Warrior Two. We will very, very carefully take our left hand on our left leg and our right thumb up to the sky, and then think of making a cartwheel. Spin on your back toes. Feel free to use your blocks on the way down. Step it to down dog. I know, it's a lot. Come to plank position, shoulders over wrists. Bring your knees to your mat and lower all the way down. It's a back bend of some sort, a cobra pose or maybe a sphinx pose. And then lower down, curl your toes back under in one chunk. We come into hands and knees and then a down dog ultimately. Lift your left leg behind you. Step that left foot forward. Come up into your crescent. Maybe what you do is climb your knees up that thigh again. Then open it out. Walk this left foot over to the right. It's a warrior two position, so we're open to that right side of our mat. There's a nice vertical line from our left knee to our left ankle, and then we take our left forearm across that left thigh. We're not crumbled into our shoulder, and we're encouraging this left thigh back behind us as opposed to collapsing in front of us. Take your time, come into warrior two, thumbs to the sky while we're here. And then just gently, gently right hand down your right leg, that's your back leg, left thumb to the sky. Remember, this is like a little dance. So take your time. You can even squiggle your left foot over to the left. Spin on your back thigh. We bring ourselves into a lunge. You'll do it more gracefully than I just did. And then come into down dog, palms flat. Walk forward, feet to your hands, hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide those hands down, exhale. Chair pose, and then we stand it up. And pause in our mountain. We'll dance that again. It's called dancing warrior sun salutation. Chair pose. Inhale, exhale, hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees. Palms are flat as we step back to down dog. Lift your right leg, step it through, climb up maybe onto your thigh into our crescent pose beginning. Then open out towards your left, heel toe this right foot over to the left, it's warrior two. Right forearm across your thigh, left arm to the sky, no crumbles. We come back to warrior two, slowly, left hand down your left leg, right thumb to the sky. We spin on our back toes, carefully bring our hands to our blocks, and then eventually to the ground as we step to down dog. Now you can skip this push-up part, this vinyasa, or come with me into plank position. Bring your knees to your mat and lower slowly to your belly. I know we've done a lot of sun salutations, lots of energy. Come on up into a back bend and then lower down and come to all fours. Your hips go up and back into downward facing dog. Lift your left leg. Step that left foot through. Climb up if you'd like to, but it's a crescent pose. And then we'll drop our back heel, open it out to warrior two. And once we're in warrior two, left forearm across your thigh, right thumb to the sky. We come back into our warrior two, and easy does it. Right hand down your right leg, left arm up to the sky, thumb to the sky. We turn it onto our back toes and into a lunge, and then hands can go to your blocks, or hands eventually, please, onto your mat in downward facing dog. Lift your right leg back behind you, step that right foot forward, and this time lower your back knee. We'll design something called humble warrior. So stack your two books or blocks and think about maybe bringing your forearms onto that stacked up couple of books or couple of blocks. So a little bit of a stretch here, and we're looking to create some length in our spine as opposed to a whole bunch of rounding. It's not horrible if you're rounding, but that might be an indication that stacking something a little bit higher would be good. Some of you might remove one of the blocks or put your forearms on the ground, and then let's get quiet. Let's feel the force of that energy of all those sun salutations and the warmth of that energy. A few quiet moments here. Now we'll come up onto our hands take your 2 books or blocks, frame that right leg, and we straighten our right leg into probably a half split. Maybe you slide your right heel forward and your left knee back, and it's a little bit deeper. But deeper, where it becomes something that's troublesome and you feel like you need to get out of it right away, is not the kind of depth we're looking for. A place where we can dive deep into some stillness, back into our breath like we started with, and a stretch into our right hamstring. We'll stretch into some silence together, a full minute of silence here in your half split, or maybe slightly more than half split. Follow me here. Bend that right knee. Take one of your books or blocks and sit almost as if you were sitting side saddle. We're setting up a single pigeon, but I want to walk you through all the ways in which you might create this. It's fine with me that you lean over to your right. What I don't want is for you to feel like you're crunching into it and bothering this right knee. So you can bend this right knee as much as you need to. Eventually your left hip is dropping down, but that is a pretty tight area on most of us, myself included. So you can let that left hip drop down, but you'll find a place where, ooh, I'm feeling some stretch here, I'm feeling some stretch here. It's not driving me crazy, but it is keeping me interested and present. And then this is where we soak for a few silent moments together in single pigeon. To come out of this, lean a lot to your right and bend your left knee. And then just come seated with both feet on your mat, hip distance. So we're coming off a perch. You'll come off your perch and bring your hands behind you, fingers face you, feet are hip distance. First, just lift your heart. If you just stayed like this, that would be more than enough. Be cautious of your wrists and your shoulders as you lift your hips up for a table pose. If that's not working for you, like I said, just stay seated. And I wouldn't worry about dropping your head back because you're probably just going to overcompensate in your neck. So let's be more interested in shoulder extension and lifting our hips. Then lower down, swing your legs around so that we're on all fours. Once you're on all fours, step your left foot forward, your back knee is on the ground, stack those 2 blocks or whatever it is that you decided worked on the first side, and we come into humble warrior, maybe on your forearms, and a pause. A full minute of silence in this humble warrior stretch. Climb on up. Take your 2 books or blocks to either side of that left foot. It's a half split, maybe slightly more than a half split. We've got a nice long soak here too, so remember, choose wisely. It's just enough sensation to stay interested, but not enough to make you insane, right? You don't suddenly feel like you're murmuring under your breath, something not so kind about me, for example. And then we pause. we'll make it that single pigeon, but let's do this slowly. So bend your left knee, take one of your books or blocks and sit that left hip on it. We're very side saddle and we're leaning a fair amount to the left. You can stay here. Perhaps you upright a little bit more. Maybe you start to turn your right thigh towards the ground, but there'll be a point where you realize, that's not the good kind of a stretch or the good kind of a challenge. That's a prickly reminder not to go any further. And before you get to the prickle, let's find a place to get still and quiet in our single pigeon variation. To come out of it, lean quite a bit, bend both knees, make your way to seated. Scoot your props so that they you don't find them to be in your way. Lie down on your back. Once you're lying on your back, scoot your hips to the right, let your knees spill over to the left, and if it feels good to you to cross that right knee over your left knee, you can. And then we'll come to center and do the same thing, scooting our hips to the left this time, dropping our knees to the right. Left knee might cross over right knee. And then bring yourself down the middle and let yourself lie down. Snuggle your shoulder blades towards each other and underneath your body. It's totally fine to do this Shavasana final meditation with your knees bent, but maybe it feels nice to you to let them straighten and flop open, and you could close your eyes or soften your gaze, and then 2 minutes of rest and digest. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation as long as you would like. If you're ready, gather your knees into your chest and roll to your side. Come up to any comfortable way to sit. So cross-legged if that feels good. You could sit up on a block or a cushion. Palms up or down. Let's just feel our sunny disposition from our sun salutations. And let's decide to wear that out into the world. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to us doing this again together soon.